Tuesday, with us in this meeting tonight. We ask you which one is here, give them safety if they travel back to their home. Or we just ask you to do that planning. And we'll move forward. We'll do it. I think you're asking for it.
All rise, please.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you so much, ladies. All right, I hope everybody's had an opportunity to look over the agenda. And if so, I'd like to entertain a motion for approval. I have a motion to approve. Do I hear a second? A second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Being none opposed, motion carries. Next on the agenda is our consent agenda. Several items for our consideration, and I hope everybody's had an opportunity to look over these as well. We have approval of the July 8, 2024 regular meeting minutes. We have approval of the July 8, 2024 closed session minutes. The approval of the MOA-NC Administrative Office of the Courts in Yancey County DSS Safe Babies Court. Approval of the amendment MOU between North Carolina Department of Homeland, DHHS, and Yancey County from May 24, date correction. And then we have approval of the Yancey County revised capital project ordinance number 2 for the Community Development Block Grant. That's the coronavirus program, the CDBG CV Community Resource Center, and substance payments. Then we have approval of the WWAMI support letter for the USDA Housing Preservation Grant, which I think will be one of our presentations here in a few minutes. Approval of the tax release adjustment for 2024, and then always for informational purposes, our July 24 tax collection report. Do I hear a motion to approve the consent agenda? Have a motion, do I hear a second? Motion and a second, all those in favor say aye. Hearing none opposed, motion carries. Glad you made it back safely, Lynn. Good to see you here. All right. Department head updates. The very first one that we have is Miss Misty Randolph. She's the director of the Yancey County Health Department, and I saw her here. Sitting over there. Thanks for coming, Misty. Got yourself a microphone.
PowerPoint says, oh, that's not working. Do we need to go ahead and talk about the board appointments, Morgan, during this time? Okay. So in our July 9th Board of Health meeting, some replacements to the board were requested. Mark Googe would like to be replaced, and Kelly Blevins from Jail Help was proposed to go in his spot as a representative from the jail. And then Christy Bryant was proposed to go into Clay Carroll's spot of the Board of Health. And so we just need approval. We got it from the Board of Health. Now we need approval from the commissioners to send out those appointment letters.
So we have recommendations for the Board of Health for these two nominees, these two seats for the remainder of their term. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And that would be replacing Clay Carroll with Christy Bryant and replacing Mark Googe with Kelly Blevins.
That's correct.
Do I hear a motion?
Motion approved.
I have a motion. Do I hear a second? All those in favor say aye. Hearing none opposed, motion carries.
For the
Oh, you ready?
PowerPoint.
All right.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead though and talk a little bit for these first slides, and we can catch back up. And I just thank you all for asking us to come and speak on behalf of the health department today. And I just want to give some information today. This is going to be just a high level, but if there are anybody that has any questions about services or anything like that, please call me. You can come to the health department. We can talk about the services that we have. But I welcome everybody to come and talk to me if you have any concerns with anything going on with the health department. On to the next one. So our hours are Monday through Friday. We're open 8 to 5. We're closed for lunch from 12 to 1. We have 2 medical providers right now that are seeing patients in the clinic. That's Dr. Franklin Craig and Victoria Robinson, FMP. So, sorry, we're having some technical difficulties. I'm echoing.
You get 2 presentations at once.
Just in case you don't hear it the first time, and you're not echoing. So, all right. Go back. Okay, so the offices are some of the services that we are offering in our clinic is communicable disease. Anybody's heard of Lyme disease? We have quite a few patients in the county that have tested positive. That's keeping our communicable disease nurse very busy. Sexually transmitted diseases, we do, walk-ins for that. We do appointments. We try to get them seen within 24 hours of them calling to make an appointment. We offer primary care. Everybody knows there's a need in our area for additional providers, and to be able to provide that primary care service is very important at the health department. We offer child health services. We do newborn and postpartum home visits, adult health, family planning services, TB management. We offer WIC, Women, Infants, and Children. That's a nutritional education program where the members work with clients to get waivers for food, which is super important. Mothers that are pregnant until they deliver can also benefit from this service, and children from 0 to 5 years can benefit from that as well. We also have a breastfeeding peer counselor that provides support for that program. So if someone's really adamant about breastfeeding a child, she will work with them one-on-one to make sure that all the barriers are removed so that they can have a successful breastfeeding experience. Immunizations, we have all the state vaccines, and we also have private vaccines for anybody in the community that needs that. You just need to call and schedule an appointment. We also welcome walk-ins. We also have the breast and cervical cancer control program. The state funds us for that so that we can help around 11 women get a mammogram, and then diagnostic mammogram if needed, and then on to getting their BSEP Medicaid. So we have a program that helps women from all facets of that, and also for cervical cancer if they have a PAP that comes back bad. And these are women that are uninsured or extremely underinsured that we will help. And there's a screening process to that. We also offer laboratory services. So if your providers may be in Asheville and they want you to be fasting for a test, well, you can call and schedule an appointment with the health department and not have to drive all the way back to Asheville. You just need to have a doctor's order to be able to do that. We offer drug screens. We offer DOT physicals, and then health education. We go into the middle schools and the high schools and do some risky behavior training with the kids, and try to make that a fun experience, but a learning one as well. Our environmental health services, we do food inspections on all the food establishments in Yancey County, septic permitting, well permitting, water analysis. We actually do some water analysis at the health department. So if you're interested in that, that's a service that you can fill out a form, collect a water sample, pay a fee, and we will analyze your water for you. We oversee the pools as far as water quality and safety, child care and school inspections. They inspect the tattoo parlors that try to open up, lead investigations. If we have a child come in for lead testing and their lead is high, they actually go to the home and do an inspection to try to find out what the kid's getting a hold of that they're ingesting the lead, and then try to work through that with them. Some other services that we offer at the health department are CMART, and that's for high-risk children from 0 to 5 years old. There's a social worker that works with those families to make sure that those kids are going to appointments, that they're, getting the medications that they need, and if there's any services that they need, like transportation, they work with that family to remove barriers so that they can get the care that they need to help that child succeed. Same thing with SimHeart, that's for high-risk pregnancies. So if we get a referral from a doctor saying, this patient's a high risk and we want you to follow her, then that social worker touches base with her and makes sure she's going to her appointments, that she has food that she needs to eat to make sure that, the baby she's carrying is healthy as well. We run the child fatality prevention team. So usually what happens is the state will send us all the deaths from 18 years and under from the previous year. We look at that with a team of professionals here in the county, and we try to remove barriers so that we can figure out how can we prevent this from happening again. So that team involves DSS, and we, sit down and try to implement things that we could help the community where the death will not happen again, so we can prevent some things. We have a car seat program at the health department. So if someone has Medicaid or WIC, they are eligible for a car seat if they don't have one. We have really nice car seats at the health department. We have certified car seat technicians. We have 2 on site that can actually put that in your vehicle for you and make sure it's secure and walk you through it too, and put the child in it to make sure the straps are adjusted correctly. Super important. We also offer some free take-home COVID tests. In the last few weeks, we've seen an increase in COVID and an increase in people coming to get those tests. So those are there for you if you need them in the community. You can walk in, you don't have to see anybody, you don't have to talk to anybody. You walk in the door, they're on a little counter to the left, and you can just pick those up and walk right back out there. So this slide is the financials for January through June. And this is the amount of money that we pull down from the state and federal government to pay our county back. So things that we may purchase, the county funds that money up front. We turn around and put it in a bucket for an agreement addendum for a program and say, you know what, we're going to pay the county back for that money. There's certain things that requirements we have to meet in order to do that. And so then we pull the money down and it goes back into the county's budget. That was roughly, I think, around $300,000. And this is showing our clinic visits by month. The blue line, that's the majority of our patients right now, is adult health. Gray is going to be child health visits. So we're on an average adult health, we're seeing about roughly 80 patients a month. Child health, it's about 20 a month plus. And of course, we've been seeing more this month because kids are getting ready to go back to school. So we've gotten a lot of physicals, a lot of immunizations this month, and we'll see that probably through next month as well. We did last year. This also has our family planning visits, our VSEP visits, and STD visits on that. You can see we're staying steadily busy. Oh, sorry, my slide's down. That's okay. I'll see what's happening. If you put the arrow button down, it's, yeah. Oh, yours isn't advancing. Okay, well, I talked about it anyway. We're currently supporting 18 staff at the health department. I think when I came on, there was 5. That was in, I think there was a 5, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, yeah. So we've added quite a few staff. In order to run those programs, you have to have staff in order, to run them and show evidence to be able to pull that money down and pay the county back. We've been awarded iPads for environmental health from Foothills ARPA. That's the money that was gifted for a lot of these other programs that I'm going to talk about too, and different wins that we've had, like the iPad that was for interpretive services. we have someone to come in that speaks sign language. We can log into this app, and there'll be someone there within just a matter of minutes that can help that person sign language. They'll interpret. It's wonderful. And also, I think there's 50-something other languages that they interpret for. So it's a really good program. We were awarded that for free. QMD training for our billing specialists at the health department. That was awarded also through ARPA. Our community health improvement plan, which is called CHIP, and the SOCH, which is the State of County Health. All those were completed, and Morgan's currently working on the new community health improvement plan. There was some surveys that went out to the community to say, what do you feel like the health needs are in our community? So we'll take that, and then we'll do some initiatives based on the results of that survey. We do have 340B drugs for STD and CD available at the health department. We have Narcan that's stocked in our medication room. We've also donated some to our community paramedic to keep on hand, and also to the jail. We've donated some. That was all free. We have installed 29 security cameras at the health department, which is a building that the county owns. That was all paid for by ARPA. Environmental health records becoming electronic. We're in the last phases of that right now. That was a very expensive project, but it was a huge need for our community to be able to access those online. And we're in the last stages of getting that to where everyone can have access to those. 1970, yeah, early, way before we were born, yeah. 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 Yeah, well, it's paid for. We got it funded. So that was a major win. We've gotten numerous Surface Pros for, one for the community paramedic that works with EMS, and we work with him as well. So it was a nice thing to be able to, intermingle those services, EMS and the county health department. We've got HealthStream education. Yearly education is required for staff that are working in the medical field for EMS or the health department. And so that was a really nice thing that ARPA funded for us for quite a few years so that we can have that paid for. Policies have been created for all the programs that we have running, which was a huge undertaking. The generator's installed. I think they've got to do a couple of tests on it, and it's ready to roll. So all the vaccines that are on site will have a backup, so we won't lose all those vaccines if the power goes out. That was something that was definitely needed. We've got ADA doors for the health department entrances and bathrooms. So now if someone comes on a walker or wheelchair, they push a button and the doors will open for them. That was not available until ARPA funded that for us. We've got some providers now credentialed from insurance. That is a huge undertaking as well, if anybody's had any experience with that. There's a lot of insurance companies, and if you're not in network with them, they don't want to pay you for the visits. So that was a big undertaking, and we've got a lot of insurances credentialed for Dr. Craig and Victoria now. If you're unsure and you want to come see us, call and we'll let you know if we accept your insurance or not. If you don't have insurance, or if you're uninsured, underinsured, need a sliding scale fee, we will help you. That's why we're there. We want to help you. So give us a call if you have any questions on that. We also have a certified vaccine rabies vaccinator now through the Humane Society. We had to appoint one of those and go through a process, and so they can offer additional clinics for rabies now. Here's some more purchases that were made available to us through grants and through ARPA. Some of this is for emergency management. The Plum case, which is a portable Wi-Fi, that's something that's needed. Many places you go in our community, we don't have Wi-Fi access, but just recently, I think Jeff had to use that down in Murphytown when they went and set up an emergency unit. So that was something that we got to utilize, and we got it for free. The talk around radios for off-site operations, that's also emergency management. Chargers and cases for handheld radios, that's emergency management. Computers and accessories for mobile integrated health teams. We take those out into the community when we provide shop clinics for COVID, for flu, for whatever, and we're able to print someone's NCIR shot record and hand that to them so they have evidence of being vaccinated. We have, like I talked about earlier, the iPads for environmental health, so they can do all they need to do from their truck. They don't have to come back to the office and use their computer. They can actually do a lot of that stuff while they're out in the field. The pod kits, that's also emergency management. Some projects, upgrades to our information technology system. We have a new server, which was huge for the health department because now when we're seeing lots of patients, we had to have a bigger computer system because everything's electronic. We have the web-based video security. So if I get a call in the middle of the night from the fire alarm saying there's a fire at the health department, I can pull my cell phone out, click on an app, I can look at the cameras to see if I can see anything on fire. It's really nice. What else? Go to the next slide. So some training also was paid for through those ARPA monies. I actually got to go to a health director training program. It was multiple times. Had to go to Raleigh over a period of a couple months to learn new things about the health department. We did accreditation seminars. Both Morgan and Fox and myself attended that. We had government fundamentals seminars, public health legal conference. That's required by accreditation to have 2 of those a year. We did that. The accountability workshop, our results and data, Morgan attended that so she could use that information to do our CHIP and SOTCH, the State of the County Health and the Community Health Improvement Plan. Some things that our nurses attended was communicable disease workshops, bioterrorism in the lab, public health nurse conferences, foodborne illness response, environmental health, went to some centralized intern training. So shortly we will have 3 up and running environmental health specialists. Right now we have 2, soon to have 3. They just got back from the training. Now we've got to go through the motions. It's going to be a huge blessing for that department because as you all know, our land is selling, everybody's wanting to build here, and there's a backlog. Yeah, just didn't know. Some administrative things that were happening, QMD billing in services, Spanish interpreter certification, some billing certification for the staff. And that's pretty much it. I think that was around 70, I can't remember the exact number, $70-something thousand just in those projects that we talked about. That was free, brought to the county just in request and filling out, some paperwork and some information and writing up some summaries that we were able to provide the county with all those services. Good. Thank you guys. I appreciate your support.
Oh, we thank you. Like I say, we appreciate you all you're doing. Keep up the good work. A lot going on too, that's for sure. And continuing to grow, which is, you think? All right, next on our agenda, item number 6 is WWAMI. Ms. Brittany Luxton, Executive Director, and Sarah Freer, Director of Grant Writing. Here they are. Welcome, ladies. Thank you all for being here. Hey.
My name is Brittany Luxton. I am the Executive Director of WWAMI Community Action. I have been the Executive Director for about a year. Prior to that, I was a Finance Director for about 13 years. And so I just wanted to update you guys on some things that WWAMI's doing. So first, we're celebrating 60 years this year. We started in 1964 and brought a lot of programs that we have now into the area. We operate various housing programs, investing at least $25,000 into each home just because the conditions of the homes to get the home safe and healthy for families. We also work really hard to preserve the homes that we have in the community because most homes are generational. So like grandma lives in them, kids live in them, things like that. We have a total family development program, which works with a whole family case management approach. And we give goal coaching, financial support, family, so say like somebody wants to go back to school, we help them with that, try to keep them on track. We also have a program that's been new this year, is our Bridges program. And this program works to provide a hand up to those who need it to stay stable. For example, a gentleman who works hard to provide for his family suddenly fell ill and misses work, and you miss pay. We can help on that in between. So like say you need your light bill paid just in that in between time, we have a program that assists with that. In the past fiscal year, our fiscal year runs July 1st to June 30th. So in 23-24, we worked on 17 homes in Yancey County. 6 received weatherization, and 6 of them we replaced heating systems. 2 families worked towards self-sufficiency goals, and that's with our total family development program. 1 of them completed education, gained employment, and rose above poverty. 13 households received financial assistance through the Bridges program to help maintain their overall stability. These families need like a financial handout with utilities, car repairs, rent, just something that might throw you off your paycheck to paycheck. This current fiscal year, we will weatherize 7 homes in Yancey County. We will replace 4 heating systems. 3 of those homes will benefit from home repairs that are that have big threats to the safety of the home and the people that live in the home. 2 families will work towards their self-sufficiency goals. 7 will receive financial support through our Bridges program. And we also are happy to announce that we are going to be in the Reconciliation House on Wednesday. So now we'll have a presence in we're talking agreement between Yancey and Yancey County. So somebody will be there from 10 to 3 to help with paperwork, anything that's needed. And I would like to thank you guys for your support.
Oh, thank you. We appreciate you. Planning has always been, in my lifetime, growing up, a huge asset to Yancey County. I remember working for them in the 70s, late 70s. Still in school.
I think that everybody I meet comes full circle with Wayne. Like I started as a client, and so then I went to an intern, and then I went to an assistant to a finance director. So like it's like a full circle program.
Well, you fill a lot of niches there, and that's really good. We appreciate what you do.
Well, thank you.
Any questions for me, Lynn?
So come see us in Mitchell on Wednesdays.
All right. All right, next on the agenda, Miss Lucy Wilson, Sunshine. Is Lucy here? There she is. Turn my head that far.
You don't want to go.
Thank you all for having us.
Thank you for coming, Lucy. We appreciate it.
Yeah, right. You might not know, but if you don't, you're gonna wanna know. My buddy, Ben.
How you doing?
Robinson, give him a round of applause. Ben is just full of surprises and tricks, so we came bearing gifts. Now Ben has a really nice shirt on tonight, but his favorite costume is big and rounder than he is and bright yellow. It's a huge inflatable sunshine, which represents Sunshine Camp. And for the past 23 years, we have done Sunshine Camp. This year was our 24th year. COVID knocked us out of a couple of years, but we're trying hard to catch up. And we do that with the help of the Board of Commissioners of Yancey County. And I would like you to know that ever since we started praying about this and begging people for help, the help has come. The truth of it is, it started many years ago, about 2019 or 20, and people came to me in the job that I did and continue to do today, that I meet with people about once a month and try to help plan services that would help enrich their life. And one young lady came in one day. She wasn't there to talk about the business that we had to carry on. She said, they had a party. Did they invite you? And I said, no. And she thought, had I known, I would have invited her or have seen to it that she got an invitation. Well, that didn't happen. So it was hard to give her an answer on that. The same week, I had a young man come in, and he said, they had a party. Did they invite you? And I said, no. So he was downhearted and a long face, and I thought, something surely can be done to help this. And I didn't know anything to do about it, but started praying. And in my personal life, that's what I have to do when I have a problem. The only thing that works for me. Can't depend on myself much, because if the Lord's leading me through a lot of valleys. Well, some friends started praying with me about that, and so we decided that we could just get a bunch of people together that wanted to play and have fun, but we had no place to do it. So I came before the Board of Commissioners at the time and explained what we were trying to do. They had beautiful Toe River campground, and I said, well, sure, you can go up there and y'all can play in the river and have fun. And it just sounded like a great thing. They were very supportive. And that same spirit has remained in Yancey County all these years. That beautiful park has been provided to people with disabilities of many kinds for all these years at no charge. So you're taxpayers, and I'm a taxpayer a little bit. So give yourself a pat on the back or a round of applause because you have supported Sunshine. Please give yourself. I'm very proud to be able to say that I'm a native. You can tell that when I open my mouth. I love that. My family taught me early that I should try to help somebody, whatever they were trying to do. And so when the need arose, I thought, well, surely we can get together and play or just have a good time. Very simple things or a whole lot of fun. And so fishing is a major activity. And thanks to our sheriff, Shane Hilliard, and his staff, he strongly encouraged that they stock trout in the stream this year. They had done it for a couple of years, and I got a phone call last January or February, and they said, sorry, we're not going to be able to do that this year. And I said, but you've got to understand, these people really love to fish. And so I begged, and didn't do any good. He wrote me a very nice letter, and he said, that's private property, and we cannot stock fish in private property. So I talked to the sheriff about it, and he said, no, I don't think that's private property, it's county owned, and, we would all understand, I think, that. And so they had a change of heart. And so they stocked the stream. Well, then we have volunteers who come, bring fishing poles, bait the hooks, take fish off the hooks, put them in ice, and send the people home with them. So they get to fish for trout. And that is a major thing here in this area for people to be able to do that. We have a hayride. This year we were blessed with a very special thing. A wish came true. and we had a hot air balloon. Now, it was a static hot air balloon, meaning it didn't rise. But that was sponsored by Remax Realty, and Natalie Gideon helped that come to Yancey County. She asked me to do a little radio program with her one time early in the year, and the man said, well, it sounds like the balloon needs to come. And I couldn't say anything for a minute. And I said, what kind of balloon? He said, a hot air balloon. Well, I had dreamed about that for all these years. Sure enough, it was there. So please give Natalie and Remax a big round of applause. It was very beautiful, and it was very different, and something new to come to the county. And pictures were made, and before the gentleman left, his name's Lee, he said, you know, we could bring the real hot air balloon next year. I said, the one that flies? And he said, yeah. It would depend on the time of day, and safety issues would have to be met. But he thought that the area up there would be very safe. They have a huge liability policy which they provide. And so the big hot air balloon may get to come next year. Several people are in favor of that. Would you be in favor of that? Yeah. Another major impact on camp this year was done with the help of the commissioners. And I brought these pictures. The pool is very important. You know that. But getting into the pool and out of the pool is a major feat for a lot of people. We have folks that come from about 10 counties all over western North Carolina, and they're welcome from wherever they live. We have no boundaries. So we've had people come from Florida and Georgia and South Carolina, Virginia, and so forth. And so a lot of people come from Asheville because we really have more things at the camp to offer than are found in Asheville sometimes. So the guy in the picture's name is Virgil. Now, he likes you to call him King Virgil. He usually wears a crown. So with a lot of work and a lot of effort on the part of a lot of people, he was able to get in the pool this year for the first time. In Asheville, when he visits the pool, they have the chair that will allow him to be lifted down into the water and then back out safely. So I just happened to walk along when he was out there in the chair, and he dearly loved it. So we felt you all would appreciate that picture. So that's one of the nice things you did. And then the water in the pool was very important this year, more so than ever more. And so I think the magic wand was waved, a lot of prayers were prayed, and all of a sudden these tanks of water appeared. The pool got filled, the water was tested, it was to be found to be safe, and toward the end of camp, we had all the water we could manage and had plenty of water to do lots of things with. But we were given assistance that we needed when we needed it. So that was very successful. The weather was really, really hot. So getting in that pool felt mighty good to them, and they loved it. So we thank you. We have something that I'll let Ben, if you will, present. This is from the Sunshine Campers. I can get out of the envelope. Let me get it out of here. Tear the envelope. You can take it over there. Give it to Mr. Whitson. We guarded that thing with our life because it's very precious. You'll open me, please. And while he's doing that, I'd point your attention to the banner that Natalie's holding up over there. There's a lot of love in this area, in Yancey County and beyond, of people who care. You are some of the people who have very big hearts. That's a list of the sponsors of this year's camp. Now, we list all the names with the same size print on purpose. Many of the people over there make very big donations, but every penny is important. My title is pack rat, penny pitcher. I'm the one that squeezes the pennies till the copper drips off. But that's the way we have managed, and we've been very blessed. This year, we had a lot of people praying for us. If I haven't asked you yet, I'm asking you now, please put us on your prayer list, because that's how we operate. The fact that we could have camp this year was nothing but the good Lord. He provided things before we even got the words out of our mouth, and that's true. So that's where it comes from. We feel it's all His, and we are doing things for His special loved ones. I tell the volunteer teams or whoever, whatever age they are, I said, look, if you give a cup of cold water in Jesus' name to someone, you're giving it to Jesus. I want you to see that on the faces of the people that you'll serve, because that's who you're looking at. And they have that wonderful spirit. So that's what makes it special. We decided this year to do something for the thing called Sunshine Heroes. And Ben, if you will, hand that to Mr. Whitson. I'll give him a little help. Mark, if you'll open that and hold it up, a couple of people in the room already have one. But the theme for this year's camp was Sunshine Heroes. Now, if you're a real Sunshine Hero, you've got one of those, and it's a real big medallion. So we know that you'll find a special place to put that, and know that it's given with love and appreciation. Thank you.
It's unbelievable what you do and the sacrifices that you make. That county, all citizens. Go.
Ready, Ben? I want to put this in the paper friend.
All the volunteers, thank y'all for everything.
All right, so we are taking names of volunteers for next year. Just in case you want to sign on the dotted line. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Lucy. Appreciate it. That's a boost of encouragement right there. Appreciate it. All right, next, I think we have a whole big, huge stack of things here. Mr. McIntosh is our interim tax director, administrator. Then come on, we've got some requests and tax refunds, rate application for the property use value, I think it is. And then also some other business sector. And I think this is just the start of seeing you on a regular basis.
Well, the first of good things tonight, from the health department, from Planning, and the Camp Sunshine, and I'm sorry, fun's over. This is, about it, but, I did see Ben breakdance on the square. Where'd he go? Where'd he go? But, that was a treat. All right, so we'll start with the, Mitchell Yancey Habitat for Humanity has, restoring a home in downtown Burnsville, and as a result of recent turnovers in staff and new volunteers and some of those administrative things, they neglected to timely complete a property tax exemption for this property, for 2024. Excuse me, the filing time was through March. They got this to me in August after the bill had already been created. So this is a request from them for the commissioner to approve a late application, which would in turn create a release situation in a tax bill that's already been created. That's an amount of $689.33. So I would like to have a motion and a vote on this. You want to approve or disapprove?
Motion to approve application.
We have a motion to approve this application. Do I hear a second? Motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Hearing none opposed, motion carried.
The next one is one of, there's going to be several, I'm sure going to come up over the next 4, 5, 6 months probably. And this is for a property located east on 5208 East US Highway 19E. As a result of Board of Equalization and Review hearing, it was determined that the property was listed with excess land. So this is a refundable situation, and there was excess tax collected in the amount of $877.16. The property owner did request in writing that the excess tax be refunded, and the assessor's opinion is that a refund is indicated and recommended in the amount of $877.16. I need a motion to vote on that.
Do I hear a motion to approve? Do I have a motion? Do I hear a second? Motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Hearing none opposed, motion carried.
The next one is actually an erroneous valuation on 2 barns on the property there at 9414 Jacks Creek Road. This came about as a result of the reappraisal, and those buildings were valued at $65,000, $45,000, which was in excess, and that occurred as a result of a data transfer or some kind of glitch in that system. At any rate, the excess tax bill and or collected for this year, $614.46. And the release is indicated and recommended in that amount. I need a motion and a vote on that.
We have a motion. I hear a second.
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. Hearing none opposed, motion carried.
The next one is the same situation on 870 Silas Branch Road. This property was listed for the year 2024 only as having 800 square feet of finished basement area, which it in fact was not finished. And that has created an excess tax bill collected of $116.28. The assessor's opinion that refund release is indicated and recommended in that amount. Need a motion and a vote on that.
Motion, do I hear a second? Second. All those in favor say aye. None opposed, sir.
The next one is actually a bit more complicated. the property owner, and I know y'all have read all of this material that I submitted with all of this, but, it's necessary that we go through the motion and vote. On this property, located at 1676 Roaring Fork Road, there was a couple of things that was listed in the request for refund, but there was never any tax generated on those items because they were only listed in 2024. They were corrected during the informal hearing, so that, that's null and void right there. The partially finished basement, though, the house was listed as having a partially finished basement. However, the taxpayer did pay those taxes and never chose to come to the tax office to challenge that, nor to see how his property was listed. And that has created an overstatement annually of $31.20. If you also choose to refund that tax, and I'll tell you that the tax refund is not indicated under the statute, that amount would be $156. And the property owner did request that line be refunded, so I need a motion to vote on that.
Second. Motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Is that to take the assessor's opinion and decline that? Or is that to approve? That's to approve the refund. I just need to be clear about that.
Madam Clerk, did you get that?
Okay, I need to ask if Frankie Burleson is in the courtroom. He apparently has chosen not to appear. We'll move on from that item. And the next item, before we get into our present use value items, I have heard a request to consider, and by consider, I mean to have a conversation, a meaningful conversation, parties affected for two different items. One on the front page is the modernization of land records. And in this North Carolina General Statutes, Chapter 161-30, there's several items that are listed that the Register of Deeds currently require and is done on a regular basis. But see item number B down there, it talks about a county in which parcel identifiers have been assigned to any real property situated in the county. And we have that parcel identifier system in Yancey County. County commissioners may require that the Register of Deeds shall not accept registration of any map, deed of trust, or other instrument affecting real property unless the parcel identifier for all the property described and affected is affixed and verified by the county on the face of the map or instrument, or affixed and verified by the county as part of the legal description contained in any instrument. And that basically says for instruments of that type. And I'm not sure if that includes all these instruments, if you can specify which instruments. Basically, the ones that actually causes trouble for the tax office are deeds. Deeds that are prepared without parcel numbers, incorrect parcel numbers, missing addresses of the purchaser who's going to get a tax bill. Some of these kind of things cause us a tremendous amount of trouble. They can be found, they can be chased down. It takes a lot of staff time. And, so
We have four of this package.
we picked up, we've been picking up and looking at examples of that kind of thing during some of the board DNR here. So I'm just putting that request out there. And the second part of that is on page 2. Under Chapter 161, Section 31, tax certification, on May the 3rd, 2011, Yancey County adopted a resolution to require that deeds not be recorded unless the tax office certified that the taxes had been paid. A second part of that is that the exception to the tax certification is that if this statement, on most deeds, it's a block that is checked, or just a statement that says delinquent taxes, if any, to be paid by the closing attorney to the county tax collector upon disbursement of closing proceeds. That works most of the time. When it doesn't work, it causes a lot of trouble. And we actually looked at an example of one of those this week, where a property transferred in 2023. And when the new owner received the tax bill in August of 2024, we have a section on that tax bill that indicates delinquent taxes. And his had a number in it. He was a new owner. And he questioned that. And of course, we investigated that and found that contrary to his closing statement, which he had in his hand, the closing attorney had not paid those taxes. And the property owner probably didn't know it, but his name was advertised in the local paper back there in February. And I'll tell you what, you talk about people who are upset when you advertise their name in the paper, and you shouldn't have. And that can happen. That can happen under certain circumstances. He didn't raise that issue. But that, I think, is another consideration, conversation that should be had. So.
Well, it says here that we have to adopt a resolution.
Well, at some point in time, and I think, Donnie, I think that you certainly should, have this conversation if the commission would so desire. That's just my request, is to talk about it.
Well, it's understanding, as we all have here the last couple of months, seeing these situations come up. There's been several. And it's going to continue if we don't do something about it and that relieves the tax. So, I think we need to draft a couple of resolutions to fix this. It's one of those things that's come up. We know it. We got to take action.
Yeah. Now, I'm going to leave that up to y'all.
Yeah, I know, but that's just something I think we need to get started.
Okay, our next.
A resolution, add fuel to the fire, there you go.
Our next situation here is a present use day situation where the application was not addressed in a timely fashion, due in part to the tax office. And our situation, and this is at 158 Bear Path Trail, and that property is a fit property and should have been allowed into the present use value program for this year. So this request is for a timely application approval and the release of the excess taxes bill. And the refund release is indicated and recommended. It's up to y'all to approve the late application and of course the release there. So we need a motion to vote on that.
What's the refund release?
The refund release amount is $408.90. That property is located at 158 Bear Path Trail.
All right, I have a motion to approve the application. And a second, all those in favor say aye. Hearing none opposed, motion carries. Now we need a motion to approve the, if so desired, the refund release for 4089. Hear a motion, second, and a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Hearing none opposed, motion carries.
This next one is a 40.45 acre tract situated there on Cavallelli Lane. It's in basically the same situation. The application was present in the tax office, was not reacted to in a timely fashion, and it did create a excess tax bill and or collected. So this request is to approve a late application and to approve that the excess tax of $1,068.48 be released and or refunded.
Again, we have two things to make motions on. Do I hear a motion for the late application to be accepted? Motion to approve late application. Motion and a second, all those in favor say aye. And none opposed, motion carries. Next will be the refund of $1,000 to 1,068.40. Your motion? Have a motion and a second on the end of the paper, Madam Clerk, you take the pick, which is which. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Hearing none opposed, motion carries.
Or you can give me the signal if I get to going too fast. Is it going pretty well? This situation is essentially the same situation on a 17.27 acre tract located at 606 McKinney Road. And this application also was found within the tax office files. It was filed in a timely manner. It was not approved. So this request is for late application approval and release the excess taxes. The excess taxes are $385.89.
Motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Hearing none opposed, motion carries. And then, to release the refund, $385.89. Do I hear a motion? Your second? Second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
None opposed, sir.
The next one is basically that same situation. And it is a 50.35 acre tract situated at 795 John Henry Road. The request is for the approval of a late application, and it's a request to release or refund the excess tax bill and or collected of $989.52.
See a pattern here. Somebody like to make a motion?
Motion.
Motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Then we
Motion
no,
to release
no
taxes.
taxes. We have a motion to release taxes. And a second. In favor? Any opposed? Motion carries.
The last situation for tonight of this type is a 59.72 acre tract at 674 Riverview Road. Basically the same situation. The application was there, it was not reacted to, and therefore not approved in a timely manner. So the request is for approval of a late application and the release of the excess taxes bill in the amount of $3,034.20.
All right. Do I hear? Yes. Have a motion to approve the application and a second. All those in favor say aye. And stated in the second. The release for the tax release, $3,034.20. Do I hear David on the motion? Second. Second, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
None opposed.
I would say at this point that the reappraisal of the Board of Equalization and Review is proceeding as expected. I'd be happy to answer any questions any of the board members might have.
Well, we're there every week. We're understanding it more and more and more.
And
Continuing to do what we've done here tonight.
I appreciate y'all's due diligence in that effort, but we are doing it every day, as you said. Thank you.
Thank you, Danny. We'll see you again in a few minutes. All right. Next on the agenda is our county manager's report. I'd like to welcome you back from out west. Yeah, glad you caught your flight. Glad your flight was not late. Glad you made it. How fast did you go from Hendersonville to here?
We won't say.
From 5 o'clock, okay.
We have some long
There's law enforcement, okay. Self-incrimination, all right. Thank you, Lynn.
Yeah. So a few things we've been working on this last month is quite a few projects, as you know, still underway. We've met with DEQ and had an assessment of our projects and where we're at, because we have over $10 million in projects out of the state appropriations money. They come and they're going to do a check-in with us just to see how that money's being spent. See where we're at on that timeline, because they don't want us to have to give that money back. It would be federal funds back into the state coffers, and they would have to give it back to the feds, and they want it to be used here in North Carolina. We want it to be used here in Yancey County. So everything's on time. We got a gold star on that for us. Everything's been on point. As you guys know, we've had conversations with the state library system, and Amber was on that call as well. Just kind of kicked off where we're at, and get some conversation moving forward. So, the grants and different things will be coming up pretty soon. To put our name in the hat for next year. That usually comes around in September, October, different things. Just kind of like the DHHS system with the health department and other state monies that we receive. A lot of those go in October, September, October. So we'll be staying on the timeline. We haven't missed a deadline yet of any kind. They reassured us of that. The Cardinal system, which is $500 a year. We can still participate in all that. Should be the deadlines that we missed up to this point. Also, we are still moving forward. As you guys know, Morgan received a grant for the county, and I want to give her a again for that, for the old bank building. And we have architect plans and design. Our architect has since, we found out, stepped out on his own and doing it on his own, but trying to see where our plans lie with him and the company he was working with. So we've reached out, the plan's already done, so it's just kind of moving forward on the bids and design and stuff on that. Design's there. It's just if any of the contractors had questions and stuff, his design, he would be able to handle that. $650,000. We had to match it $32,000 out of the $650,000.
Over.
And then we did receive, or received the $94,000 for the grant that we did. The training, the 9 weeks training. So that's fixing to move forward. Do want to let you guys know that the bids on and all those have went out. The pre-bid is done on the Ray Court Park. That is due this Friday, the 16th at 10:30 a.m. here in our county manager's office. Because the board of NR will be going on in the commissioner's boardroom, but we look forward to opening those bids, and then if we need to rebid, that would be posted. And I think the date's already down, maybe like the 24th or something, but you want to check that. Hopefully we won't have to rebid. We'll get 3 bids and be able to move forward on that. So that is due this Friday, the 16th at 10:30. And that's for the Ray Court Park, doing the last phase up there with the Cardette money.
Yeah. Heard about that. Heard about that. Well, I can't say anything. You're the second.
Okay, so one other thing is Duke Energy is trying to, we signed an easement, 8 months ago for them to put the poles up there at the landfill. And now they're coming back to us saying, hey, that wasn't the best design that we had. We want to do it like this. We've changed our plans a little bit. So I did meet up there with them, and as we're closing down the old landfill part, they're going to have to drill some wells. These guys are wanting to put up poles, and so I'm just trying to make sure everything's in the spot that everything can coincide together. So I did meet the Duke Energy guys up there, and one of them can meet with our Anchors QDA's folks, just to make sure on the well. They just want to move them. They want to put in about 4 more poles, but move them closer to the road. So it's all pretty much within close distance proximity to that roadway. That way they don't have to cut into trees, and they don't have to go as far out to fix stuff. So, if they're planning that, they are in design phase of that again, because I thought, we can't do here because we're going to have to drill a well here. But we're going to get those 2 firms up together, then they'll present a design, and then we'll guys and get that approved before we do anything. Mitchell County, I found it funny, they already had signed the easement agreement, but I said, whoa, we've got to have these clean water wells that's closest to these homes, and it's about the same place you want to put that hole. So I think he's going back to the drawing board and redesign we move forward with bringing it forward. So that's where we're at on that. Did meet with Maylin up there about the parking lot design in the back of the planetarium. They needed more parking space. That our biggest concern is parking space is great, but we want to make sure that nobody can accidentally drive around into that transfer station of the night and drive off into one of those trailers into that pit. So we worry about keeping that closed off to where we don't get fined for garbage being on the floor, somebody going up there and just dumping a truckload after 5 o'clock or 4:30, or somebody getting hurt, so. Well, we met up there, right, we met up there talking about the front entrance gate, but we're gonna probably need to put up some gates on both sides of that. We have one a little further down, but it probably needs to be put up.
They have
It
access.
needs to be under a gate, those are being pretty bad, but hurt.
Have access from the, that part, and over there, get the backside where we come.
Right now, they do. Backside.
Is that the second gate you're talking about? Okay.
Yeah, we're gonna have to have something where we cut off this entrance, but now we need to cut off this one. And it's back there at the woody debris.
Right, for all the
Yeah.
stump dump.
We just worry about somebody getting hurt more than us getting fined, but they will fine us, you know. They come in. There's a Walmart bag up there on the floor, like, they, get their hands pretty hard, if it just blows up out of the trailer and onto the floor, so. We'll try to keep everything covered and the way it's supposed to be, but somebody could literally drive off in there if it's dark. And that's when they're going, when it's dark, because that's where they get turned around. Well, we've had some conversation, nothing's been said that's final. We have met with our folks about, the Republic guys, of course, with the CI guys, about helping them pay for free, well, where they tore up the, Republic tore up half the little, lift that goes out that push the trash over to make sure it gets all of the trailers. And so we had a conversation with Brandon, because when his guys came in at the very beginning, before we had our loader, they kind of tore up the other half of the lift of that, steel layer. And so, we went back and forth with them, on fix we'll pay for that, or we've got to fix that.
That's something that has anything to do with our grade there.
No, we just have to, it's just more manual labor, because when we push that trash into the trailer, it, you just come on one side, but also the biggest thing is it goes on into the trailer. Well, we have to go down there and scoop it up, you know, every trailer load. Did reach out to the state about the land on Baker's Creek again, so we're still in conversation with them. I reached out to Steve and not yet, no. But the wells, you know, they were looking at the new facility or the new Marshall Elementary School down there, Blue Ridge, about putting some wells there and working with the school board to see where they're, I'm working with the superintendent to see where the best place is. That would allow us to put the wells, but they have to have some future design. So that will take the confusion out with the state on the property. We have it in there to do, and we have let them know that that has been done, that that's on the books for this year, because the potholes is knee deep sometimes with the big trucks. We have let them know that that will be fixed, and we've got that crew on standby. Whenever they can do it, the crew will come up and test it. That's the asphalt, but I don't have a date when they're going to start. I'll try to get that.
These light poles, like, property down.
It's down below the gate, the light poles are below the gate. Before you get it. But I did ask for the power to be ran down. We got a new job with and I mentioned that we needed the power ran down to the highway patrol, Ayland, out there, the LED lamps, the sheriff's office, police department, the Marshall Police Department, different folks, one of their Mitchell and all of them, to train. And he acted like it was more noble shame, I don't know, kind of good to do before we. All I have on that, we could talk about projects all day.
That's the truth.
Everything else is going good.
We do have a lot going on. You're more than busy. Randy don't do nothing, why don't you pull her in and get her to, yeah. See what that is? Is it you, brave man? All right. Thank you, man. Any questions for Lynn? Yeah, welcome back. All right, Yancey County, next on the agenda, item number 10, Yancey County Board of Equalization and Review appointments. There's actually showing one on here. We have two ladies that have agreed to serve. That's a blessing. Help them, if they could help out with this. And I understand it's Erica Deaton and Gretchen Banks. Entertain.
Got that motion, Greg?
I have a motion and a second. Second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Hearing none opposed, motion carries. So I'm assuming she'll get in contact with these ladies. They'll start to sit on this board. So congratulations, tomorrow's your birthday tomorrow. Now, some clarification here. Which Gretchen is this? Okay, so it's Eric and Gretchen, so they can't serve together. And then they work together. They have to do one day, one another. Okay, great. All right. Next item is item number 11, Yancey County Public Library Advisory Board appointment. There's 4 that is said here. There's actually only 3 that we have to put on. It's coming up. Do I hear a motion for any? And we've had discussion about this going forward, starting July 1. The county commissioners are going to be the ones that's going to be overseeing the library board. So do I hear a motion for discussion?
I nominate.
All right. Do I hear any other nominations for this appointment?
Nomination.
Did I nominate Sandy Norton?
All right.
I nominate Mark Ledford.
So putting the commissioners on these 3 positions, and because that's the way it's going to be going forward, to get everybody understanding on the board. So we'll have a little bit of insight going in to this. So we have Mark and Sandy and Stacy. Do I hear a second on these 3 nominations?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And none opposed. Motion carries. Next, county commissioners report. Any commissioners have anything that they would like to speak about, talk about, comment on? Anybody? Okay. Next on the agenda, our county attorney's report, Mr. Donnie Laws. And he's got some things that we're doing with this, with the school board. I think I saw it come in. Go ahead, Mr. Laws.
Edwin, if you want to come up to the podium, you may be able to add some historical references or some more present day references. So what is on the agenda concerns the South Dakota Volunteer Fire Department. Their site up on Highway 80. About 50 years ago, some folks from South Dakota wanted to organize a fire department up there. They approached the school board to acquire a piece of land from the school board. You'll know this, where the fire department is now, is actually the northwest corner of the South Dakota school property. And at that time, the Board of Education wanted to help those folks out with, I think, 1.5 acres of land. School boards are not authorized to directly convey property to nonprofits. They have to go through a sale process. So they met, the school board and the folks from South Dakota, met with the existing county commissioners at that time. And, all of those folks came to an agreement that the fire department would survey the property they were in. School board would then declare that property surplus, work with the county to where the school board conveyed the property to the county. And then at that time, the county entered into a long-term lease with the fire department, wherein that property could be used for fire department purpose. That long-term lease is getting ready, or is now fruition. What has happened is that the folks at South Toe now want to expand their fire department. So what you folks are doing is essentially revisiting the same thing that happened 50 years ago. The folks at South Toe approached the school board. The school board was very interested in helping those folks out. First of all, what the school board had declared is they needed to do an investigation to determine that property would no longer be used for school board purposes. What they declared surplus. Edwin and folks at the school board did an extensive investigation, determined that some property around the existing fire department up there would not be needed in the future for school purposes, and caused a survey to be done, worked with the folks at the fire department, and reviewed the survey, and I believe at the meeting in July, declared that property surplus. They entered into a resolution to that effect. And the superintendent then sent a letter over the county, which is all statutory procedure, that said we have declared this property as surplus property. The statute requires that before the school board could dispose of any surplus property, they have to offer it to the county commissioners to determine whether or not you want to acquire it from the school board. So that is the letter that is in your package. Now, it's my understanding that you all probably should proceed as a recommendation, much like happened 50 years ago. Accept that property from the school board. Once it comes into your hands, you have a much more liberal process that you can go through in getting that property over in the fire department's hands. You can convey the property to them, and you can put restrictions on it that the property has to be used for public purposes, emergency purposes, and those things. As long as the fire department complies with that, then they can use the property. If they fail to comply with those conditions, property would revert back. So I think what is before you right now is to authorize either the chairman or the county manager to enter into negotiations with the school board for purposes of getting a deed to that property from the school board over into the county's hands. At that time, if you acquire that property, then negotiations with the fire department as to how you take that property. I think I've got all of that right, Chairman.
That covers it completely. The biggest thing they're looking at is they can't apply for grants for new structure without having deed to the property. And they went out of their way to be as gracious as they can be. I mean, I realize they're wanting a piece of property, but it's a benefit to the community. It's a benefit actually to a public school because a lot of liability is taken away. And we did talk about some of the restrictions that we've already discussed with them, and everybody was in agreement there wasn't an issue. And our recommendation was we'd like to partner with them to be a positive influence on the community.
Well, that's what we do. Place a question that we proceed as they cover. Manager, and move forward.
Have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. And none opposed, motion carries.
Thank you.
We can get this ball rolling. I know they're excited about it. I get phone calls all the time. Well, so, yeah. Thank you, Edwin. Thank you, Mr. Ross. Appreciate that. Anything else, sir? Have anything else? All right. Next on the agenda is our public comment section. Get my what's ready. And as always, we lay down the ground rules of what we do. We have 9 speakers here tonight. We have 9 speakers tonight, and I would like for everybody to be respectful of whoever is speaking, whether you agree or disagree with whoever it is. And let's give everybody 3 minutes. And when your 3 minutes is up, I will hold up the 3 fingers, and that means that it's time to wrap it up. And we will be respectful of each other's time. All right, first on the public comments, Mr. Matt Willig, talking about Yancey County history and legacy. Thanks for coming, Matt.
Yeah, I'd like to make 2 quick comments before I start my 3 minutes. Is that all right? One is, I'd like to apologize to everybody for the speed which I'm going to read this. I can't help that. It's a complicated issue in 3 minutes. It's not a lot of time. And second, did you just appoint yourselves to the advisory board?
Yes, we did.
Okay. That answers some questions too. I'm here today to talk about Yancey County's history and legacies. Decisions were made that enhanced our county, both civic and private, and helped make our county better, stronger, and more vibrant. Past governing bodies worked to build up our county, creating new assets and enhancing others we were blessed with already. These positive changes to planning, community engagement, vision, money, and partnering with neighboring counties and at the state and federal level. This was their legacy. Major effort was put forth to move and enhance our library. It's now and has been for years a successful, vital, important asset created by both civic and private money as well as state and federal money. It is a gem used by young and old, possessing many assets that help our community. Plaque on the wall honors the people that helped put that together, a lot of your friends and colleagues. There are people that oppose the library mission, serving all who enter, and to make available the breadth of knowledge therein. In the past, there have been people opposed to changes in our county. For example, alcohol approved in town. That was a hard decision. It turns out that our new economy has revived the downtown and given jobs to young people and their families. The town center, which a lot of people do not want to spend money on, which is now a really big asset for the town. There will always be, of course, things in an inclusive society that challenges people's beliefs and sensitivities that they will oppose, as is their right. There's been an effort, all of these things and more are possible through partnerships and financed by our tax money, our money, and state and federal funds, also our money. These funding sources have taken a big part of the burden off of our county finances and tax base. There's been an effort to refuse the benefit of partnerships and funding to make these things possible for our county. To date, there has been no explanation for this action other than so-called self-sufficiency and the observation that other counties have done it, which sounds more like an excuse than an explanation. There has been no argument for the benefits of the action against the detriment to the vital resource for this county and its citizens. Self-sufficiency is fine if it is sufficient. But as we know, that this asset cannot be maintained and will lose its materials and equipment and staff, which benefits no one.
3 minutes, sir. Thank you. Next on public comments, Ms. Heather Watrous, County Services. Thanks for coming, Heather.
Thanks for having me. Glasses. Okay.
First of all, I want to start out with gratitude. Big thanks to Misty Randolph for sharing how she's directed our new health department towards a greater ability to serve the community. Under present leadership, Yancey County pulled out of the regional health department system, losing resources, funding, and valued personnel. Now tonight, from Director Misty Randolph, we've learned that over $70,000 worth of funding for our Yancey County Health Department was gifted to us by a program, ARPA, which she mentioned many multiples of times, that was drafted by President Joe Biden. The American Rescue Plan, that's what ARPA is. Also known as the COVID-19 stimulus package. He drafted that on March 2021, $1.9 trillion for COVID relief and economic recovery. And I just want to say thank you, President Biden. Similar withdrawal from the regional system, and we'll lose the resources and funding and valuable personnel, and we'll need to begin from the ground up too. I don't think the American Rescue Plan will cover it this time, but maybe we'll get lucky. All this breaking up and rebuilding of very, very successful county services with the intention of taking more county control. And yet, our county outsourced a tax assessor that does not know us and had a more suburban view of tax. They didn't know we are home people and land dwellers and not real estate prospectors. They don't even know the value of old tobacco barns, I've learned tonight. We're not going to sell to out-of-staters with bigger salaries to make a buck. We love our homes. We're mostly middle class to poor. This assessment is hurting us, those of us without agricultural deferments or other special dispensations. So many are on fixed incomes or Social Security. For some, this new tax is more than 2 months' earnings and must be taken out of retirement funds or home equity lines to be paid. What are people to do? The irony here is that we are watching our services dwindle as our taxes have skyrocketed. What next? Shall we divest of Medicaid, shut down DSS? Maybe we should leave French Broad Electric Membership Co-op and generate our own electricity so we can be in control of that. That we get a referendum vote added this November, that all Yancey County meetings, all commissioners meetings, all school board, board of education meetings, and any other meetings that are for to serve the public, to be recorded and live broadcast on Legs the Radio and archived online for all to access. Closed-door meetings have no place in public service commissions and boards, as there is no top-secret information being discussed like in the FBI. It's all stuff that can be talked about with no danger to anyone who hears it.
3 minutes, sir.
Thank you. They say no man.
Speaking about the budget. Thanks for coming, Charles.
I recall the August 2023 Commissioners meeting where Chairman Whitson said that the withdrawal from Amy was off the table and will not be pursued. I spoke at that meeting and thanked the Commission for that decision. I also recall the very brief 28 June meeting where Chair Whitson said the county would be withdrawing from Amy. That comment resulted in over 100 folks in attendance booing him as he hastily left the room. No explanation, reason, or rationale for the withdrawal was given. I immediately paid a visit to the county manager and showed Ms. Austin a chart that reflected current funding and resources provided under Amy and the loss of funding and resources that would result from Amy's withdrawal. She assured me that the county would pick up the shortfall caused by the withdrawal from Amy. As indicated by the shortfall, that would require the county to come up with nearly $1 million in near-term funding for computers, software, books, customer services, too many to mention. To cap off this tragedy, the recent released budget decreases library funding by $30,000, and there is no line item in the expense column for the aforementioned nearly $1 million that would be lost through the pulling out of Amy. I asked County Attorney Laws to explain how the county commissioners are fulfilling their fiduciary responsibilities where the county becomes responsible for a funding shortfall incurred by withdrawal from Amy. The display of arrogance made by our county commissioners in their draconian and unilateral decision to withdraw from Amy is not an action that taxpayers, voters, and citizens of the county should tolerate. The commissioners have forgotten that we, taxpayers of Yancey County, are their employers. The decision, such as the Amy withdrawal, should never, ever be made without a public forum, including the commissioner's rationale and reasoning for such an initiative. As we experienced from Commissioner Chair Whitson's aforementioned comment on August 2023, how can we, Yancey County citizens, ever trust the commission to do the right thing? We Yancey County citizens are still waiting for the commissions to explain how their actions will make our library better. In this great republic's democracy, arrogance should not be tolerated from our elected officials. Was recently advised that our library will cease allowing Yancey County citizens to check out books beginning January 2025. Its staff needs time to catalog the 31,000 plus books that will be returned to those libraries remaining in the Amy system. A conservative cost of $20 for each of those books gives you an idea of the impact that's going to have on the Yancey County budget. Thank you.
Next is Ms. Kathy Blosville.
First,
Thanks for coming, Kathy.
thank you for having me. First, I want to say how disappointed I am that you all just elected yourselves to the board. The board of the library should be representative of the entire community, not just all of you who already have so much to do. I don't understand why you also want to be on the library board. I think it's very irresponsible. On a happier note, on behalf of the Carolina Mountains Literary Festival, I want to thank you for providing some funds to help us lodge all of our authors. Because the room is filled with people who care about books and reading, people with many interests and points of view, I want to take this opportunity to tell you all about the festival on September 5th through 7th. 25 authors with many interests, topics, and points of view will do free readings and discussions on Friday and Saturday. This year's theme is Joining Voices to encourage discussion and to build and support community. The festival begins on Thursday night with bread and tortillas, a free for all ages performance with music, dance, storytelling, and art by a group of people living in Kentucky, Appalachians, and Latin Americans. They show how different cultures work together and celebrate what they have in common. On Saturday, there will be a free special event for children and families. There are 4 3-hour running workshops in fiction, memoir, nonfiction, and poetry with a registration fee of $35. The Saturday night keynote with Indigenous authors Angelina Bolee and Nelson of Clapsaddle requires registration of $25. Go to cmlitfest.net to see the schedule, sign up to volunteer, donate, and register. On our bookmark is a logo designed by Chad Fox and the theme art of Joining Voices by local artist Robin Johnson McCain. The bookmark also lists authors. Would any of you like a bookmark? Yeah. Hope to see you all tonight.
Next is Mr. James Roeder, speaking about open meetings. Thanks for coming, James.
Thank you for having me. Good evening, Commissioners. I'd like to talk about Article 33C of Chapter 143 of the North Carolina General Statutes, the laws about open meetings. They start off with this paragraph. Whereas the public bodies that administer the legislative, policy-making, quasi-judicial, administrative, and advisory functions of North Carolina and its political subdivisions exist solely to conduct the people's business, it is the public policy of North Carolina that the hearings, deliberations, and actions of these bodies be conducted openly. So what does it mean to conduct the people's business openly? Well, there are a lot of specific requirements. For some, Yancey County complies with the letter and the spirit of the law. Others, Yancey County seems to ignore. And it would seem that for some of the requirements, Yancey County may be trying to comply with the letter of the law while attempting to evade the spirit of the law, which it turns out is actually also against the letter of the law. We're ignoring the requirement in GS 143-318.12, Section 8, that requires notice of all special meetings to be posted to the county's website at least 48 hours before the meeting. Over the past year, I don't believe I've seen a single special meeting notice posted on the county's website. It's my understanding that if a citizen or group of citizens filed a lawsuit against the county for violation of the statute within the appropriate time frame, any actions taken by the commissioners at that special meeting could be declared null and void, besides costing the county plenty of legal costs. We also seem to be ignoring requirements around record keeping for closed sessions. Even closed sessions must be publicized, and a journal account must be kept of what happens in them, quote, so that a person not in attendance would have a reasonable understanding of what transpired. The only understanding I have of recently published closed sessions is, quote, the board did not take any action during closed session. And finally, about evading the spirit of the law. By statute, any time a majority of the commissioners discuss business of the county, that constitutes an official meeting. That's true even if the conversation happens in the hallway outside the courtroom, over a conference call, email. Official meetings must be announced and open to the public. On June 28th, commissioners held a special meeting in which they decided to leave the Amy Regional Library system without any discussion, simply motion, second, and vote. Are we to believe that you commissioners didn't discuss this beforehand? There was no mention of it in any minutes since July of last year, when you stated that you couldn't leave the Amy Regional system. So it seems one of the following must be true. One, the decision to leave the library was so obvious that it didn't warrant any discussion. Or two, you discussed this in official meetings but didn't record it in minutes. Or three, you discussed this in conversations specifically intended to subvert open meetings laws. I don't know which it is, but this is just one example of what seems to do happen. I hope you'll remedy the easy fixes I laid out above and shed some light on the more concerning violations as state law requires. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Well, Charles and James hit it right on exactly 3 minutes, so you guys evidently rehearsed, so that was good. Right on 3 minutes. Next we have Jackie, M-A-A-S, is that Moss? Thanks for coming, ma'am.
I appreciate your thanks. I would appreciate it much more if you responded to the needs and concerns of your constituents. You're right. I don't mean to preach to the choir, but I'd like to bring up a parable that seems very pertinent to the recent actions by these commissioners. So I'm going to preach. A lawyer, go take offense, has asked Jesus what he must do to guarantee that he will inherit eternal life. And Jesus answers in part, love your God with all your heart and soul, and love your neighbor as yourself. The lawyer, trying to hedge his bets, asks, exactly who is my neighbor? Jesus responds with the parable that we now call the Good Samaritan. It is only the Samaritan of all those who pass, the deeply feared enemy of the Jewish people, who pauses his journey to save the life of the Jew who was beaten and dying in a ditch. Question: exactly who is our neighbor? The answer Jesus gives is unequivocal. All people made in the image and likeness of God And so all people are our neighbors, even our most deeply feared enemies. Again, exactly who is our neighbor? People with skin lighter than yours, or darker. People who suffer from mental illness, developmental disabilities, substance abuse, people of different ethnicities and religions, people who are part of the LGBTQ community, left-handers in addition to right-handers. Loving all these neighbors as we love ourselves will ensure eternal life according to Jesus and reiterated in multiple Bible verses. But the Bible also makes it clear, harming our neighbors will condemn us to eternal damnation. So exactly what is harm? Harm is publicly denouncing our LGBTQ neighbors as demonic, as has been done in this town, calling them followers of Satan, groomers of children, or degenerates. Harm is attempting to remove their stories from public libraries and schools. Harm is using selective verses from the Bible to justify hate while ignoring the many more verses that celebrate love and acceptance.
3 minutes.
Harming our neighbors is a mistake. When we make mistakes, we look to our community leaders to help us correct our course. I'm going to finish this line. Church leaders, education leaders, business leaders,
All I done
and
was ask for
elected
respect of the
leaders.
time whenever we were starting.
May I continue?
No, you can't. 3 minutes. Next on the agenda. Randy
LGBTQ
Butler,
people
it's your time to speak.
live in Yancey County. They
Jackie,
are our neighbors.
it's time to go.
If
We need to be
Jesus were
respectful.
here,
We need to
there
be
would be
respectful.
tears in his eyes as he asked us
Sir,
to
can I get her
fix
to sit
this.
down? Thank you, Jackie. And I appreciate your comments, but we got 3 minutes and that's time for everybody. I do appreciate you coming and speaking, and thank you. Randy, you got 3 minutes, thank you.
I appreciate the
Randy's
opportunity.
speaking on taxable photographs.
I appreciate the opportunity to get up here. I just want to ask if y'all have had a chance to look at the way we're selling our tax delinquent properties, because it's ridiculous. I just purchased one of these properties, went and bid $21,000. Do you realize the attorney company that's doing this kept $10,675,000 out of this thing? That's 50 point, I think, 6 or 8%. It's ridiculous. I mean, with the 24 or so properties we're selling in Yancey County, they're going to be taking probably $300,000 to $400,000 out of our county. I couldn't help but sit back there and think, what could we do in our county if we kept that money in our county with sunshine or health department or Whammy or any of those? So I don't know, is that going to be eliminated, or are we going to continue to split them right in our county?
What they've got in right now is what it is, they're gone.
Well, that's good. That's good, because it's actually working our county employees today. I'm glad y'all realize that. I appreciate y'all's time. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Ms. Sue Clark. Is she here? She's speaking on transparency.
What?
Transparency. Thank you for coming, Sue.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for the opportunity to speak.
Absolutely.
My comments will be brief, but on point. My concern is the lack of transparency that is being presented by the county commissioners. I know all of you have important duties for the Yancey County, and as elected officials, one of the most important roles you have is to be transparent to every citizen in the community. And maybe everyone will vote for you, but as county commissioners, I request that you take time to serve all of Yancey County residents without any personal agendas. I need you to listen to us as individuals